Universidad de Talca, Campus Linares.
Hello, my name is Diego Sanchez. I'm 22 years old and I'm studying at the University of Talca to be a teacher of English.
Wow, thank you very much. Okay, so we have a lot of stories in this module, and one of them is the gift of the Magi. So my question is, did you know this story before the module or something about it?
In my case, teacher, yes. I know it in different instances of my life, for example, in books from the school, in videos, on the internet. I had the opportunity to listen to the story, but not in a full version. So, I did not know all the detail of this wonderful story. And tell me, what about you, Natalia?
No, I haven't heard about this story before this module. What about you, Diego?
Well, me neither, Natalia. I did not know this story before this module, and when I got the chance to read it, I found it very interesting because the whole story does not talk about the title. The title, I think that's the most important part, and the gift of the Magi is the name, and the text does not speak of the Magi until the last paragraph. So I found it very interesting.
Well, that's it. Interesting. Okay, but what is the story about? I would love to know that.
Well, the story is set on Christmas Eve and revolves around a young, impoverished couple, Jim and Della Dillingham. They are very much in love and want to give each other a special Christmas gift. However, they have a little money to spend in their gifts.
Oh.
So Della has a long, beautiful hair, which is one of the couple's prized possessions. And in the other hand, Jim has a gold watch that has been passed down to him from his father and grandfather. Each wants to give to the other a gift that complements their treasured items. So, in a selfless act of love, Della decides to sell her hair to a wig maker for $20 so she can buy a platinum fob chain for Jim's watch. Meanwhile, Jim sells his watch to buy a beautiful combs for Della's hair. When they exchange the gifts on the Christmas Eve, they realize the irony of their situation because Jim no longer has his watch to use the chain and Della has no hair to use the combs. Despite this, they realize that their love for each other is the greatest gift of all, and their sacrifice highlights the depth of their love and generosity.
Oh, I see.
Yes, the story concludes with the narrator drawing a parallel to the biblical Magi, who brought valuable gifts to the newborn Jesus. O. Henry emphasized that Jim and Della, through their selfless actions, are the wisest gift givers of all.
Okay, that's very interesting, and something that is very interesting as well is that Diego mentioned at the beginning the idea of the Magi, the idea of the title, and also that in the epilogue of the story they make kind of the moral out of this. So, in connection to that, what is the relationship, with the Magi in the story?
Well, the Magi, we didn't know what the Magi means, so we have to search for the meaning, and we realized that the Magi is translated in Spanish as the Reyes Magos. Well, it's not until the end of the text that we reach this paragraph where they talk about the Magi. The Magi refers to wise men, like Natalia said, but I don't like this word because in this text we have two people that we think is a couple, Jim and Della. So we don't have only men. It's not only wise men that can be able to give gifts without any condition. Well, as I said, the Magi is from a biblical story where they give gifts to baby Jesus, where those gifts are not materialistic enough, they are most valuable. And well, there is a passage from this last paragraph that I'm gonna read. It says, two foolish two foolish children in a flat who most unwisely sacrifice for each other the greatest treasures of their house. This is what they are talking about in this story. They give out a part of themselves to exchange it for the happiness of the other, giving one another something that they think it's really valuable. And that is the relationship that they got with the Magi, because the Magi are wise people that are willing to give without any restriction.
Okay, so the relationship, it is about giving.
It is about giving. It is about giving without expecting anything back.
Okay, and that's very clarifying in connection to the title.
Yes.
Okay, so I was wondering, if you have read any other story, that it's similar to the gift of the Magi.
Yes, in my case, I know another one. This will be A Christmas Carol
It's
by
well-known.
Charles Dickens. This story has a lot of similarities. For example, the value of the non-material gift. This one tells the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, a miserly old man who despises Christmas. On Christmas Eve, he is visited by the ghost of his former business partner, Jacob Marley, and the spirit of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. This spirit shows Scrooge the impact of selfishness on himself and others, revealing his lonely past, the joy and the hardship of those around him in the present, and the grim future that awaits him if he doesn't change. Deeply moved, Scrooge wakes up on Christmas morning with a newfound sense of generosity and compassion, transforming into a kind and caring man who embodies the true spirit of Christmas.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, that's a very well-known story.
Yes.
I remember watching on TV, especially over Christmas time, this wonderful story, and it's one of my favorites as well, related to, like Christmas and gift giving. Okay, so apart from this one, because it's very interesting, is there any other story that you can mention relate to the gift of the Magi?
Yes, I know another short story similar to the gift of the Magi. It is Federico's Falcon.
Okay.
And the plot is about Federico Albertini, a nobleman who falls in love with Mona Giovanna and spends all his wealth trying to win her affection, leaving him with only a small farm and prized falcon. Mona Giovanna's son falls ill and desires Federico's falcon to feel better. Out of love of her son, Mona visits Federico's to request the falcon. Unaware of her purpose, Federico prepares a meal for her using his beloved falcon as the main dish.
Oh.
Yes, after the meal, Mona asks for the falcon, and Federico reveals the truth, leaving Mona moved by his sacrifice. Eventually, Mona's sons die, and she later marries Federico, recognizing his noble character and the true love. This story has the same use of the irony as the gift of the Magi and the necklace. And also this same author, O. Henry, has another story that calls A Service of Love that has the same use of the irony at the end of the story.
Okay, so that literary device is used here.
Yes.
And also, it's so interesting to hear that you have read other stories, out of O. Henry. And that's very, very important, as a learner.
I didn't know that story was extremely impressive for me, and the development of the irony, it was shocking.
Yes.
Well, what I can get from what you have mentioned about the different stories, it is really that connection, with gifts, with the idea of giving, with the idea of materialism, things like that. So my question, I would like to know, what do you think? Are all gifts material, or all gift should be material for Christmas, for instance, when you are giving someone something?
Well, that is a very good question, because you might think that all gifts are material, something that you need to see or something that you need to pay money for it. But before answering this question, we need to know what a gift is. And a gift can be defined as something that you give voluntarily without expecting anything back. Can be often given to show appreciation, celebrate special occasions, or improve personal relations. Well, in this description, I have to say that sometimes gifts can be, you can give something with expecting anything back from a person. And as an example of this can be the Secret Santa that sometimes we made. That would be in Spanish, amigo secreto, where you gave something to a person and you don't know who is going to give back a gift to you. Well, after saying this, answering the question, no, all gifts are material. First, we have to know the material gifts. They are physical items that can be touched and seen, such as books, jewels, and everything that we could see, tables, or something that you can make, or tangible. Yes, that's the word. The gifts are tangible and often hold a monetary value. But on the other hand, we have the immaterial gifts. They are non-physical. They can be time, where you can give a little bit of time to a friend when he has a problem. Can be love, can be affection. And something that I find really interesting is knowledge. Knowledge, it's also an immaterial gift that you could give to someone else.
Yes, I really agree with you, Diego. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
very,
a very nice insight
very
to
deep.
the idea of gift giving.
Yes.
Well, and there is much values that you can teach with gifts that we are going to review in a little bit.
Okay,
Yes.
so what is really interesting to me is that well, you will be teachers, right, in the future, and you will be teaching reading, writing, speaking, different skills, you know. And one of the things that we need in Chile is to improve reading comprehension, you know, which is something that we are a bit, you know, not that strong as we should be, you know. So I was wondering, what would you teach out of this story? That would be very interesting for our listeners to know.
Yeah, we have a lot of values with this story. For example, the selflessness and sacrifice, love and generosity, the true meaning of wealth. For example, despite their financial poverty, Jim and Della's love and devotion to each other make them true widely. Material wealth and possession are less important than the love and relationship we have in the classes. The students sometimes think only have possession is the only thing it matters, but is not true. The love, for example, with your classmate, the friendship and the knowledge, as my classmate Diego said, is more important than material gift you can give you a person.
Brilliant.
And the irony and the unexpected. For teaching, life is full of unexpected twists and ironies, and sometimes our best intentions lead to foreign outcomes. One example will be the irony the both gifts become useless because of their mutual sacrifice, highlighted unpredictable nature of life. Yeah, we can teach a lot of things. In conclusion, the gift of the Magi underscores the greatest gift we can give and receive are love, selflessness, and the willingness to make sacrifice for those we care about. These values are timeless and universally applicably remind us of the deeper meanings behind giving and the true essence of wealth and happiness.
Okay, so I can say that you can definitely teach with this story, you know.
Obviously, we can teach all. Natalia,
What kind of level are you thinking?
I'm thinking in all levels.
Okay, Okay, that's so interesting because that makes it very
We can
contextual.
adapt the story to all levels. We can teach in more simple way to, for example, first grade to seventh grade to the secondary school. We can adapt. All the texts are adaptable.
Okay, so by considering that, okay, how can, in a sense, or how does the story, can show this idea of gift giving in this Chilean context?
Well, we cannot be 100% sure, but based on the experience that we have and based on the conclusions that we reach, it is perceived in our country as something necessary to bond with people and to improve and create or make better relationships with other people. But here we have many different points of view. Here we are going to talk about kids, teenagers, and adults, or the oldest adults that we call grandparents, because for these three sections, gift giving is perceived as something different. Because for a kid, it is just expecting a gift from your parents, from all the people that love you, and just that, not expecting to give something from yourself to another person. Well, in terms of teenagers, we can see that, well, we are going to divide these teenagers in between the 14 years old onwards until we get the oldest people. But in this section, we can see that these people try to give gifts because of the value that they have, not because of the monetary thing that you can give to another person. And then we have the adults, the grandparents, that here in our society we can see that they are the ones that are most worried about the value of the gifts, not as much as the teenagers.
Oh,
So at the end we can get the meaning of a gift, but we do not look deeper in the values that they carry on. So as a conclusion, we can say that this is something necessary in our country, not mandatory, but necessary to keep improving in our society.
I see, and I can see as well that relates a lot to cultures. That's very dependent of each country's culture, the
Yes.
idea of gift giving. So, Natalia and Ana Camila, what can we say about that? What do you think about that?
Well, the practice of gift giving can vary depending on the different cultures. For example, for most Chinese people, gift giving is a very universal phenomenon in the social daily life,
Okay.
and people usually send gifts to each other on the festivals, weddings, birthdays, and some important days. For example, when spring festivals comes, it is common for the sons and daughters to visit their parents or some senior relatives by taking some gifts such as wines, rice, cooking oils, fruits, or something for gift. And the grandparents tend to get their gifts lucky money ready for their grandsons or granddaughters as early as possible before the spring festivals. They call lucky money to the money that they give to their grandsons. And in contrast, for example, here in Chile, we just give gifts in important occasions like births or for the Christmas.
But for them, it is more like something into the daily,
Life, yes,
practices
yes.
of them. Wow, very nice.
It's different than us. I'm going to talk about the culture of giving in the United States.
Okay.
Exactly in New York.
Oh.
Like the development of the tech to give of the Magi.
Okay.
In New York, the culture of giving is vibrant and multifaceted, driven by individual philanthropy from wealthy and middle-class residents. The New Yorkers are extremely individualist, so they try to give to the other ones. In other cases, the extensive corporate social responsibilities initiative and a strong network of non-profit organizations and foundations. The religious institutions and community centers play significant roles in charitable activities. High probably charity events and only crowdfunded campaigns are common methods of fundraising.
Okay, that's very interesting, but I keep on wondering if you believe that this idea of gift giving, I mean, of the practice of gift giving in Chile specifically, shapes the relationship we have and the way we communicate with others. What do you think about that?
It does shape the way that we communicate and we have relationships with other people, because practicing gift giving enhance communication and reinforce relationships. First, in terms of communication, can fix maybe a relationship that is not being communicative, and we have seen many cases where people give something that is not as much valuable as they thought, but that can fix the problem of communication that they have. Also, gift giving gives a message. I care about what I'm giving to you. Also, it is really important the timing where you are going to give a gift, so you can communicate that you are caring about that specific situation. Like, can be a birthday, it can be a celebration of something specific that you had in your life. So there's that. And then in terms of relationship, we obviously improve our bonds that we have with people. We express love, we express appreciation, and we also use this as a form to get better and also to enjoy the holidays, and also the job reinforcement. So at the end, it is very important for us in relationships and communication.
Okay, and I can see as well that, well, in your talk, that this involves also giving a lot of your personal, attitude, your personal understanding, and your personal feelings towards gift giving. So, in that sense, I would like you to tell me personally, in the Chilean context, what is gift giving to you?
For me, the act of giving something is a way of showing affection towards other people, taking into account that society in which we live is very materialistic. In my opinion, taking the time to look for something that is of the interest to the other person to give to them means a lot. Not only the gift itself, but also the time that was dedicated to the gift, because it doesn't necessarily have to be something material. And what will be your case, Anita?
Okay, in my case, Natalia, I'm agree with your answer, but not in totality. In this society, all is focused on how much you can expend in a gift. The most important thing is out of the material, out of the physical touch. Like in the book of The Little Prize, I keep in mind this phrase: the essential is invisible to the eyes. The most significant gift you can give you a person is true love, patience, time, honesty, and comprehension. One example of this is our friendship. The three of us don't care about the material things. The only thing we expect from the other is to be there when he or she needs. Diego, tell me about you. What do you think?
For me personally, is seen as detail. Does not mean money, it means time, places, or memories. And here I got to say that I did a relationship with the story of the Magi, where the name of the character is Jim. And I'm seeing a series that is called The Office, where there is another character that is called Jim, and he also gives a gift to her couple that is named Pam. And this gift is not as valuable as other people's gift, because it is just a teapot. The teapot has a really deep meaning for them, because that teapot was when they were having a great moment at some point. The teapot also includes some things that they live in some point, situations where they really share love, affection. Like once they were sharing a hot dog and they spit a a sachet of hot sauce, and that was really something.
Okay, so I have to say that this has been very, very interesting, in terms of your understanding of gift giving, how you have connected the story with other stories, and this is very, very important because you're showing a transformation,
Yes.
of knowledge, which I would call innovation, and I really like that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, but in connection to that, that this podcast, it is not just a podcast, as part of this project. The podcast is connected to an infographic, and you're going to present and introduce the infographic, through the podcast. So in connection to that, I would really like to know, what can we expect to see in that infographic?
Okay, in our infographic, we have the next title, Materialism or True Value,
Okay.
by focusing on the irony of their gift. In the part, we will do a gift divided in 4 parts. The first quadrant on the top will be the story of the Magi.
Okay.
Next to them is the analysis of value in gift and the material gift.
Okay.
In the bottom, in the third quadrant, is the gift giving around the world, and in the last one are the questions to the students.
Okay, so in a sense, you are representing aspects of your learning in the module,
Yes.
which
Yes.
has been like very, very clear, I would say, in this podcast. So thank you very much for your active participation. If there is anything you would like to say to our podcasters,
In my case, with the guys, we've been working on this project a lot of time, so we expect. Do you like it, guys?
Brilliant.
Yes. What about you?
Well, I gotta say that after all this work, after all reading all these stories, I got to say that you have to give without expecting anything back. You have to give and keep giving until it hurts.
Okay, it's like the morale, right?
And I just want to say thank you for listening to our podcast.
And I want to add the best gift I ever had. All we ever had
Okay.
is to be alive and be here in the present. That is the reason of present. Be
Oh.
here.
Okay, that's so nice. Thank you very much, and we may see you later. Bye bye.
See you.